Okay, this is part 3 of the heating system here, and I just want to go over the fuel and the power and the this burner itself and how it all works together. So what I've done here is I set up a fuel tank, and the fuel tank is a 55-gallon barrel that when it's filled to this point right here where you see the shadow in the tank, when it's full to there, it's 60 gallons, believe it or not, it'll fill. Up to 55 gallons is like down at this point where my finger is. So there's another 5 gallons, it'll get up there. So anyway, so a full tank of 60 gallons runs me right now about $350, and then the rebate back off that, probably get about $30 back on a rebate right now with the home heating rebate for that one tank. So you're running at about $320 to fill this one tank at 60 gallons right now, today's prices. That will last about, in the coldest part of the year, each one of these ribs down to the bottom, you can see how much oil is in there right now. It's getting low, so I have to go down and I'm going to fill this system with another one of these barrels, and I'll pump it from that barrel into this line right here, into this part of the tank here, and I won't have to shut the system down. It'll just fill up and be running at the same time, no problem. And then I'll just stick that back on, and all that is just an air valve or an air line that allows the gases from the fuel to go outside instead of building up inside this building. Now, this system has a pump on the burner, so like any other system, it's a home hot water heater is all it is, and I made it into a Glyco hot water heater, or Glyco heater actually, and made the system out of it. So, and I just put a heater manifold on with an inlet and an outlet manifold and a loop. Yeah, with the pump and a few other little components. This is a heat recovery or a recirc line that can only travel fluid one direction. And how that does that is it just kind of gives a little bit of temperature. I downsize it to a 1/2 inch, and it gives a little bit of temperature. I leave that on, so it kind of recoups the cold air that it's already sucked out of the line. And when it's going into the tank, some of the hot water that never been through the system, it just comes through the manifold and right back up, will go into the tank and kind of help maintain the water and keep it hotter. I don't know how well that works. It probably gives it another couple degrees on the water, I'm sure. But I'm hoping that works the way it's supposed to. Anyway, so what that does now, like I said, I fill up from this spout here. I can actually put a garden hose down in there with my transfer pump outdoors. I can fill it up with a garden hose and stick it in here, and I watch it fill up into the tank. And then as it's filling up, of course, is also the line's on. So what happens is it goes through the pump, it goes through the filter, and then it gets into the pump on the side of there. And if you have to bleed it, there's a bleeder screw here on the side, and you can open that up, and that'll allow all the air to do what you do while the pump is running, and it'll push the air out. There's a little bleeder screw right down there. See it? Right on the side. So, and you can shut that off, and while the pump is still running, and it'll fire up the burner, which is that right there. And this is the electronic side of it. This is your thermostat and all your brains to tell this burner how it should be running. I'm not going to get on all the terminology because I'm not a boiler man, and so I just know that I need power to that to run that burner. So, and it comes off right here. So this is the thermostat. The thermostat to the hot water heater, and it's set at 135. The water temperature right now is 137. It's shut off 136. So once it gets down to 135, it'll turn back on again. It'll maintain. It shuts off at about 141, something like that. I don't know. So That maintains the temperature in the boiler. Now, the Grundfos pump is hooked up to the thermostat on the inside of the trailer, which runs the system and tells it when it needs to feed water or glyco through the system. This is a shutoff, emergency shutoff for the hot water heater, the whole entire system. And that shuts that off and then turns it back on. It allows you to be able to maintenance or work on that system without having to worry about power being to it, which is nice. Also, the power runs into that box from the inside of the trailer. There's a plug-in on that this system is plugged into. So if the power in the trailer comes back as a default and shuts the system down, it'll actually shut this whole entire system down. It's sitting on an arc fault system line, power line. So anyway, the power runs up into here and shuts the disconnected off. Now, from the power from here goes into the thermostat inside the building, inside the trailer, and that runs half the power, runs out and hooks into this Grundfos 3-stage pump. It's got 3 settings on it, 1, 2, 3, and I keep it on the third one. And just because there's no real amount of R value in the trailer, so with no R value in the trailer, I keep it on the third one, and that keeps the heat pumping through there as fast as it can, because I don't want that fluid to be obviously cool off to nothing before I get out here again. So the thermostat set at 21 degrees Celsius inside the trailer at this moment. When the system air temperature inside the fifth wheel trailer is set at 21 degrees, like I said, when the air temperature gets to 21 degrees, it will shut off the Grundfos pump, which means the whole system shuts down. It means all the water becomes stagnant. It just stops. It doesn't circulate no more until the thermostat drops down to below 21 degrees and turns back on again. I think there's like a 2 or 3 degrees below 21 degrees it'll turn on, and then 2 or 3 degrees above 20. I think there's like a 5 or 6 degree temperature window there, 3 degrees each way, that the thermostat works on. So obviously not kicking in and out every 2 seconds, right? So that's how the thermostat works. So then this system will turn back on when it gets up into temperature, and everything will run again. So that's how that works. And with this system, I'm going to add another loop, and it's going to run. It might actually going to run that way, because there's a building out back here on the other side. I don't know if I can show you that. But I'm putting an office in a building right there. Satellite dish. So I'm going to put the office in there, and I'm going to heat the office off the same system, glyco system, and it's going to have an old-fashioned register in there from a house in Lunenburg. So I will run a loop from the intake manifold here, and then it'll come out into the return manifold over here, come back up into the return manifold and work the same as the rest of the trailer, and I will put another valve on here. There will be another one here that will go into another loop that will come up, and it'll just run across this OSB right here and then shoot right back into the manifold. But here, I'm going to put a 10-plate heat exchanger in there. And what that's going to do is I'm going to bring a 1/2-inch line out from the trailer on the cold water domestic side, and it's going to set in to the 10-plate at the top. And the water is going to run opposite directions coming through the plate. So one's going to be domestic water coming in, and the glyco is going to be running out of the system. And so basically how I'm going to do that is, in the wintertime is never a problem, because there's always hot water running in here. So I'm going to trick the thermostat inside the trailer to keep the that Grundfos pump running when I want the water, hot water. So if I'm going to have a shower, I'll just trick it and I'll shut every one of these valves off so no heat goes inside the trailer in the middle of the summer. So every one of these valves will be shut off, and I will not have to worry about having any heat build up inside the trailer, obviously, because you don't want heat in the summertime, but you do want some hot water. So with this, I can have domestic hot water that'll run off the same boiler system that my heat. So it's going to be like a heat transfer unit sitting right here. From boiler water or boiler glyco to domestic hot water. And that will be quite an upgrade since there's only a 5-gallon tank in there. So anyway, so that's this part. I'm going to show you the build on that system when I get there. So that's all I wanted to show you. At this point, I want you to like and subscribe if you can. This is a new channel. I'm not good with these videos yet. I'm hoping to get better. There's going to be some insulation done on this building, and it's going to have to be finished wired. There's going to be a plug-in that's from that light that's going to come down here. It's going to be a plug-in on this wall so I can plug my transfer pump in. And so there's going to be an outdoor light set up into it. So it's going to have a light box in there. And then I'm going to spray foam some insulation in here or foam board, one or the other, to make sure that this building is as warm as it actually can be. Now, believe it or not, there's enough heat in this building not being insulated, because you can still see the OSB there, and OSB there. This is, you might as well call this packing foam. There's no R value to that packing foam anyway, but it keeps the frost off the wall, I guess. And that system being fired up the way it is right now, all that heats this building. And this building stays at 75 degrees easily with no insulation in it. So once I insulate this, I might actually have to put a small vent somewhere, either up here or stick one down here by the door or something, just to kind of get some cold air intake in here for the system. So, or just leave an airspace around the chimney pipe. I could probably just do that. That's probably going to be adequate enough, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe make a little bigger one. I don't know. But just got to make it so the water doesn't come in there. And right now it doesn't, so we'll leave it at that. So I can put some vents in, and I can put some louvers on the vents so I can shut the vent down if it's too much air or not enough. I can open it back up. So yeah, so I'm going to leave you with that for now. And when I do the next upgrade on this system, which is going to be soon, one's going to be to run a loop out into that building. It's probably going to have another pump on it. It's going to have a thermostat on it, or I'm going to get a zone valve, one or the other, and I'll run a thermostat to that building. So I'm not running the thermostat inside the trailer, because that building is a 2x4 structure out there. And when I insulate it, I might actually frame it back out on 2x2 on the inside, or I may not have to because it's strapped off in 2x4 on the outside of that building. And I should be able to squeeze a R20 batt in there of insulation. And that building will be finished off like a home, basically, or an R24 vat. And so there'll be adequate insulation in that building over there, and then for the office, and it shouldn't take as much heat to heat that building as what it will to take inside that fifth wheel that's inside on the side of this building. And that's pretty well, like I said, that's pretty well all I need to show you at this point, and I will be in touch with you for the rest of it. And please like and subscribe, and hopefully there's going to be lots more videos on. There's a shower or a tub surround I'm working on right now. There's going to be the office out here with this heating system. Is going to be hooked up to the office out here, and the whole entire build I'll put on YouTube. And there's, like I said, the car shelter building that I built into a shop for a tractor shed. I put a wood stove in the back of it, a wood furnace. It heats itself. It's quite a unique building. I'll do a video on that. There's going to be some yard work here in this whole entire property. There's going to be a house built. There's going to be a shop built. There's going to be a lot of buildings going on in this shop. So that'll all go on the channel. So please like and subscribe. And like I said, and we'll be talking to you. Cheers. Have a good weekend.